injured after protesters attacked his convoy. They set his vehicle on fire. The injured UNIFIL deputy commander was en route to Beirut airport. The UN has condemned the attack as a violation of international law. Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun denounced the violence, vowing that those responsible would face punishment. Supporters of the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah have been protesting outside of the airport since Thursday. It comes after 2 Iranian planes were barred from entering Lebanon, leaving dozens of Lebanese nationals stuck in Iran. The measure was put in place by the Israeli Defense Forces, who say Iran's Quds force has been using flights to smuggle funds to Hezbollah. Yossi, I would like to come to you first, and I'd like to look at the end of that comment there that I made regarding these flights and the impact of Iranian money coming to Hezbollah. We know, of course, a ceasefire deal between Hezbollah and Israel is in place, but what could these funds be used for if they are indeed coming from Iran? How could that impact Israel moving forward into the future?
Well, I think what we are seeing is that the Iranians are trying to find a replacement for the direct connection they had with Lebanon through Syria. And now that Syria is under the control of a leader and a regime that is opposed to Iran, they are trying to go directly to Lebanon, and they cannot bring in arms, so they bring a lot of money, so that this will enable Hezbollah to regroup and probably also rearm itself. That is unacceptable. It's against the agreement between us and the Lebanese government. And that's why the Lebanese government is on our side on that issue, that Iran should not be supplying Hezbollah, bypassing the Lebanese government. And that's something totally unacceptable for not only for us, but for everybody, including the Lebanese government. And of course, this is the issue here. It's not about the passengers, that the Lebanese passengers that got stuck in Iran. It's about the attempt to bring in money to enable Hezbollah to rearm itself. That's the problem. And definitely, even by the way, even Hezbollah is trying to distance himself a little bit from the protesters who were acting against UNIFIL deputy commander.
Yes, and I'd like to pick up on that and pose that to Ali. We know, of course, that the senior UN official was, of course, injured, and the fire that's been set off by Hezbollah supporters. Does this show, Ali, that there is potentially still a divide in Lebanon between the government and then supporters of Hezbollah? And how important is it that that is managed in order for there to be peace in Lebanon, but also the impact that it might have across the Middle East?
Let me just only mention that the ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel is fragile. From the day one announcement of the agreement between Hezbollah and Israel for ceasefire, Israel violated the ceasefire. They implemented many airstrike in Lebanon and in the southern part of Lebanon that are controlled by Hezbollah. And there is many civilian has been killed after the announcement of the ceasefire. In my opinion, that Lebanese, they are supporting Hezbollah as a part of the civilians and as a part of the population of the Lebanese. So what is happening on the ground about recently about the killing, and that it's a part of the conflict between Hezbollah and Israel, and what is happening on the ground after the killing or assassinating the supreme leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah. Hezbollah is understanding that this war is not his war, and he is performing the proxy war with Israel. So after that, after killing the supreme leader, Hezbollah, he is announcing and he was ready to cease fire with Israel. So who's violated the agreement between Hezbollah and Israel? Israel itself. And we have seen many airstrike has performed by Israelis airstrike, and also finding excuses to return to the war with Hezbollah. I guess Hezbollah is not ready to return to the war, as much as he want to maintain the ceasefire with Israel.
Yes, and Yossi, I want to look really at the response that there's been. The UN, of course, have condemned the attacking of the Convoy and specifically the senior member of UNIFIL. Do you think Israel can do anything to try and make sure that the peacekeepers are kept safe? Or is it a case of sort of leaving Lebanon to do what they are and working on, of course, finalising and completing a ceasefire deal with the removal of Israeli troops?
Well, I think that, first of all, Israel has not violated the ceasefire. Those who violated the ceasefire are Hezbollah, who are trying to, against the agreement, to regroup and rearm themselves and to relocate and to redeploy themselves in southern Lebanon. According to the agreement, they are not allowed to do that. And according to the agreement, Israel is the force that is going to make sure that they don't do that, because we can't rely anymore on UNIFIL or even on the Lebanese army. We try to let the Lebanese army do its job and make sure that they don't do that. But the Lebanese army is too weak until now and has not managed to prevent that from happening. After we complain and nothing is being done, we carry out attacks in order to make sure that Hezbollah is not able to rearm itself. And we threaten to do that also against the efforts to bring in the money. So that's, and this is according to the agreement. This is not a violation of the agreement. This is a part of the agreement, a major part of the agreement. We wouldn't have signed it if we didn't have this in the agreement. These are understandings that are an annex of the agreement between us and the Americans, and this is the way we are operating. Unlike what happened before October 7th, when we relied only on UNIFIL that did nothing and allowed Hezbollah to deploy a huge amount of forces along our border, being ready to launch a ground attack against our communities along the border. Now, regarding the future, we are not doing anything in order to harm the UNIFIL. We keep their safety very carefully, and nothing is being done against them. Those who are attacking them are the people of Hezbollah, the supporters of Hezbollah, as you said. Now, this is being done in Beirut. We are not there, so we can't help them much. We expect the Lebanese military and the Lebanese forces, the Lebanese security forces, to make sure that UNIFIL people in Beirut are protected and not exposed to attacks by Hezbollah supporters.
Yes, Ali, I'm very quickly going to come to you. We don't have long left at all, but I want to get your response there to what Yossi says. We have, of course, seen strikes near the Syrian border with Lebanon. Also, the troop withdrawal has been delayed. Is this something that you think is beneficial to making sure that the ceasefire deal is made permanent, or do you think that Israel's actions have potentially been counteractive?
I guess there is the Israelis' action on the ground provoking what is happening in Lebanon, as well as Israel invaded Syria after the regime has been left from Syria. We have seen who's want to extend the violence on the ground. So about the Lebanese army is weak. The Lebanese army is not weak. I guess they control the situation. They control all the borders. So they will take the serious action for these things. In my opinion, that the ceasefire between Hamas and Hezbollah, between Hezbollah and Israel, it will remain. Since I said Hezbollah doesn't want to go back to the war.
Yes, Ali, I'm really sorry to have to cut you off. We are out of time. Ali and also Yossi, thank you very much for joining us.